So today I'll be talking to you about why DEET is the best way to stop the Zika virus. So here's what's awesome about using DEET to stop the Zika virus. It's very effective on stopping mosquitoes from biting you, and about a third of Americans use it every year. It's convenient and you can take it wherever you go. It's available in aerosol cans, spray bottles, and towelettes. It'll also last a fairly long time while it's applied to your skin. The average application lasts about 5 hours, and higher concentrations can last up to 12 hours. It's also safe for children in everyday use and will not harm you in any way. There are no birth defects when it's used on pregnant women, which is great because you don't want your baby harmed. It'll also work on more than mosquitoes and will help on ticks and stopping Lyme disease. The bottles, if you are not using them, will also last for 5 years in storage. It's cheap and is about $6 for the average size bottle. It's available to everyone, and this means that with everybody using it, we can all stop from getting the Zika virus. Here's what's bad about using DEET though. For some, it's uncomfortable and sticky. It also smells bad if you smell it directly on your skin, but it's not a big deal if you're more than a few feet away. Also, it can cause mild rashes, but is only being recorded over just over 40 times in the over 50 years of using DEET, so it's very unlikely that you'll be allergic to it. Also, when you're putting DEET on, and then if you pick up your water bottle or pick up your sunglasses or flip-flops or something, they will melt because of the DEET. It eats away at plastic. Also, if you use DEET all the time, mosquitoes can become immune to it, but it's very unlikely. Unfortunately, the mosquito will not be killed and could come back and infect you at a later time. To understand how DEET works, you first must understand how mosquitoes work. They sense your body heat first, then the carbon dioxide you exhale, and then third and lastly, the oils on your skin. Once a mosquito smells DEET on you, it is unable to detect the chemicals on your skin. Once the molecules of DEET reach the antenna of the mosquito's chemical sensing receptors are unable to detect the chemicals on your skin. So, since the mosquitoes are unable to detect that you're a human, they won't bite you. This is why DEET is such a popular use for mosquito repellent and is used by one-third of Americans. So here are the uses of DEET. It's available in towelettes, aerosol cans, or in liquid spray bottles. For every application, it's effective for about 5 hours, but at higher concentrations of up to 100%, it can last up to 12 hours. But it is toxic when consumed and is not safe for use in foods. But when you read the label, it is safe for children in everyday use. It is used by about one-third of Americans so that they don't get bitten by mosquitoes. The first to use DEET was the U.S. Army in 1946. We developed it because we need our soldiers to stay healthy from diseases from mosquitoes such as malaria. It was later registered for public use in 1957 so that way consumers could also buy the product and be safe from mosquitoes and diseases. The United States could not go without having DEET because our soldiers needed to use the protection against the diseases of their environment. For example, in World War I, disease killed more people than the fighting actually did, so it is a necessity for our military. There are over 120 different products of DEET registered by 30 different companies. This makes the competition for the repellent very high and drives the prices very low. This means that DEET is available to everybody, which means that everybody can be protected from the Zika virus, making DEET the best for the solution to the Zika virus. Also, one-third of Americans use and depend on DEET to protect them from bugs every year. At the current time, DEET already protects airborne diseases from ticks and mosquitoes. This includes the West Nile virus, malaria, Lyme disease, and the Zika virus. DEET will continue to protect us in the future and will be the best option because mosquitoes won't be able to even tell that they can bite us and transfer the disease. Also, if there are any new diseases that ticks or mosquitoes can carry, DEET will be able to protect it because mosquitoes and ticks won't be able to bite us and it can save millions of lives in the future. So, if DEET were available to more people, I think that airborne disease would be much less of a problem in countries like Africa. The New York Times reported on mosquitoes traveling to the Gulf Coast over the summer. Health officials recommend for people to use products using DEET to avoid being bitten by infectious mosquitoes. Like Dr. Laura E. Riley said, it just makes sense to use DEET to protect yourself from something that is truly unsafe like Zika. So, for pregnant women, you just should use Zika and read the label on the bottle of your bug repellent, so that way you don't get bitten by infectious mosquitoes that contain the Zika virus that can cause birth defects, and also but mosquitoes that are carrying malaria, which can cause other birth defects too. Also, Dr. Rose McGreedy, a doctor at the University of Oxford, said that newborns weren't affected in terms of growth or development from DEET exposure during pregnancy. One of the directors of the Environmental Protection Agency also said that DEET is safe for women at any point in pregnancy. In 2014, the EPA also ran a safety review on DEET. The EPA also addressed the long-term effects and the short-term effects of using DEET on pregnant animals and concluded that there were no risks to human health during pregnancy using DEET. Cornell University also did a study on rabbits and rats showing that DEET was safe. When Cornell University tested the bunnies, they gave them 5 shots of 25 milligrams per kilogram of DEET every day. The only injuries that the rabbits encountered were their veins from where the shots were injected. When the rabbits received twice that amount of DEET every day, their growth declined, and after giving them 3 times that amount, the rabbits often died. Another experiment was conducted on rats, giving them 10,000 parts per million for about 200 days. Their growth rate was decreased without a decrease in food intake. After feeding the rats about 10,000 parts per million of DEET for about 200 days, the size and weight of the kidneys, liver, and spleen increased. When the rats were fed about 500 parts per million of DEET every day, which is about 25 milligrams per kilogram per day, the rats were completely healthy. When you apply your bug spray, you apply about 25 milligrams per kilogram. Since rats and rabbits both were completely healthy when fed 25 milligrams per kilogram of DEET every day, it is more than sufficient evidence that when you apply bug spray, it is of no harm to you. Also, since 25 milligrams per kilogram every day was not enough to kill any rats who were pregnant or their children, it is very safe for any woman to be able to use any DEET product to protect herself from being bitten by mosquitoes. In conclusion, DEET is the most safe and reliable for fighting the Zika virus.